Hi, I'm Debbie Boyle. I am a local author here in Helena, Montana. I have a new book out called Sounds of Home. I grew up in Helena and lived such a wonderful childhood here. My parents were working class people. My mom was a nurse. My dad worked for the highway department, was in the military, and we had 6 kids in our family, and you can imagine what life was like with 6 kids in a family. This book has a few of the stories about my family, but I need to say that they are very embellished. It's a work of fiction. If you want to learn what life was like in 1970, growing up in the summertime, a 10-year-old girl running wild on the streets, going to the park and riding her bike downtown with her friends, you might like this book. You might like the nostalgia of it. It talks about a lot of places in Helena, like the Parrot and the Marlowe Theater, the Cathedral, Central School. A lot of the book takes place in those areas. I really wanted to write this book. It's actually a book for my daughters. I have 2 adult daughters now who are both teachers, which I love because I taught school also for 30 years and retired. And that's when I started writing this book. I wanted to give them some memories of my childhood. The story follows the main character. Her name is Bets, and she and her friend Jilly they run wild all summer. Bets's older sister tries to keep tabs on her, but of course, she's running all over the place. In 1970, Vietnam War was very prevalent, and it felt like it was on TV and in newspapers. And for a 10-year-old little girl, seeing the magazines laying on the coffee table, it was scary, and somehow the Vietnam War enters into her life and the life of her community. And the story is about a community coming together to help people, and it's about kind of wonder and a little bit of mystery and love of family and friendship. And if you like nostalgia of the 70s and just fun stories about average people, you might like Sounds of Home. How the book came about was I retired from teaching after 30 years and began watching my grandson, my newborn grandson, which I loved. I looked forward to that my whole life, being able to stay home and watch him or watch my grandkids, the same as what my mom did for my kids. And as he slept, one day I picked up my computer and started typing, and that's when I started typing out stories I remembered of my childhood. And it slowly morphed into the book. I would put him to sleep, take out the computer, start typing, and I just typed for about 2 years. And the story, the book, the first draft was horrible, and I had a few people read it, and they didn't have much of a comment, and I thought, okay, I'll just put it away, and I did, and it stayed in my closet for a couple years. And then when COVID came, I brought it back out because, what else are you going to do during COVID but work on things like that. So I started retyping, and I rewrote and tried to edit. It's not a perfect editing because it's a self-published book. I did most of the editing, and you'll see the mistakes, but I don't care about that. I just wanted to get the book published and have a copy at my house. And I thought I would only just have 1 copy of the book, but I ended up ordering a few more, and people wanted it, and then a few more people wanted it, and that's how it came to be. my good friend who I grew up with ever since first grade, she lived in my neighborhood. We'd walk home from school together all the time. Her sister became ill. When I started writing the book, that's when she became ill, and just struggled with that illness for many years. And this last summer, she became very ill, and it was the end of her life. And my friend asked for a copy of my book, and she read it out loud to her sister. And her sister was in great pain, and she would ask to listen to the book, and the book, it helped their family get through the last part of her life. And I felt very honored that they cherished this book. And I thought if for no other reason, maybe that's the reason I wrote the book. It turned out that way.